Hello and welcome to English for You. I'm Seb.
I'm Chickling.
So, Chickling, cities and countries and stuff, they're all changing a lot right now. You know, like we have some very old buildings around, around Taipei, around Europe, and, we like to take care of them. We like to use them as tourist spots. But, sometimes I think we don't take as good care as we could. We don't take great care of them. Like I saw, for example, an old Japanese house here in Taipei the other day that was getting knocked down, which was very sad.
They have no idea what's being destroyed, actually.
Exactly. When you destroy something, something very old, like an old building, then you don't know what you're losing. There's lots of information, lots of stories behind that building that might be gone forever.
Yeah, and usually old buildings are reminders of the city's culture and complexity. So, especially for people living there, it's going to be really sad.
Exactly. It's very sad. But, sometimes it's necessary to make changes to a city. For example, like we might need a new highway to go through the center of the city. And how do we build that? Well, we have to move some buildings so that we can put the highway in. So what do we do when we want to make something new and we need to move something old in order to do it?
Maybe we can protest.
We can protest.
I've never done that before.
It's a difficult question to answer, right?
Yeah.
But it is one that is being asked over and over again as people are trying to make changes in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And we're actually going to talk about that now. We're going to be talking about a place in Hawaii which is currently seeing a big struggle between tradition and science. Let's check it out.
Reading.
Huge Hawaii Space Telescope project reveals troubles on Earth. The top of Hawaii's Mauna Kea is the best place in the world to see into space. The peak is 4 kilometers up a mountain and free from polluted air and city lights. It's already home to 13 large scientific telescopes. Yet, the Mauna Kea observatories are planning to add one more. This giant telescope, if completed, will look farther into space and produce the sharpest ever pictures of planets and stars. However, native Hawaiians say that Mauna Kea should be protected. It's home to their gods, and it's where they say the first Hawaiians were born. It's also where many of their ancestors are buried. Native Hawaiians tolerated the other telescopes when they were built. It wasn't until this huge project that they said enough is enough. Over 1,000 Hawaiian protesters now sit on the mountain daily to stop workers and equipment from entering. The protest has been peaceful so far, and the government isn't attempting to remove the protesters. However, the end to this situation is something not even the world's best telescope can see.
Okay, so we have an interesting title for today's article. It is Huge Hawaii Space Telescope Project Reveals Troubles on Earth. Okay, so we actually have a bit of a double meaning there. A telescope reveals things in space, right? It helps you see things in space, but reveal can also mean to make us see something in a more abstract way. So it's revealing problems.
揭露这些问题, right? If you want to translate that. So next, the article keeps on saying, the top of Hawaii's Mauna Kea is the best place in the world to see into space.
I wonder why that might be. Well, apparently, the peak is 4 kilometers up a mountain and free from polluted air and city lights. Okay, so actually, when you're close to a city, there is this thing called light pollution, because we all like to use a lot of electricity. So if you might have noticed when you're in Taipei, it's difficult to see the stars, because there's so many lights around you, you can't see the lights that are far away, the star lights. But if you go to maybe Nantou, for example, or Kenting, the stars are much brighter. So that is why Mauna Kea is so good for looking at the stars. That's why Mauna Kea's peak are so good for looking at the stars. Now, peak is a noun, and when we are talking about mountains, the peak is the mountain's highest point. So the article is saying that the top of the mountain is 4 kilometers high. Now, there are some other useful words you can use to talk about mountains too. Slope is one, that's a noun, and that is the ground that goes down from the peak of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain. We can actually also call it the foot of the mountain. Mountains have feet. So slopes can be steep, or they can be gentle. But going back to peak, when we say someone is at their peak, we mean that the person is doing the best in their career or life. So, right now, some fans say that Joanne Baba is at her peak right now because everybody's talking about Joanne Baba. So, our example sentence for peak is, Ryan climbed to the top of the mountain peak and looked out over the valley below him.
Alright, 那我们看一下 peak 这一个字哦。peak 就是巅峰啊、山巅、山的最高处的意思。所以刚刚老师有提到 at somebody's peak 就是某人生命中的最高峰。And peak we can also use this as an adjective. So we can say peak time or peak hour. And peak time is the time of the day when most people are using or doing something. 就是一个尖峰时间的意思。或像旺季 peak seasons or 淡季 off season or slack seasons. So you can say don't go there in the peak season. It will be too crowded.
Right, no space on the beach.
Yeah, so peak can also be used as a verb, which means to reach the highest point or a level. 那你就可以说啊 sales peaked in August, then fell sharply. So then back to our article, the peak is 4 kilometers up a mountain. So what does kilometer mean?
Well, kilometer is a noun, and a kilometer is basically something we use to measure the distance between two things. Now, kilometers are very, very big. They're worth 1,000 meters. You'll see them a lot on roads in Taiwan because they're used to show how far two cities are from each other. So that's like our example sentence. Kaohsiung is about 350 kilometers away from Taipei. And it takes almost 4 hours to drive there. If it was 350 meters, it wouldn't take 4 hours, would it? Nope.
所以我们知道山顶距离啊，最低处有4公里之高，所以很高哦。Kilometer 就是公里的意思，那么 meter 就是公尺，那么公分呢就是 centimeter， 或者是公厘 millimeter， 或者是公斤 kilogram， 大家可以记一下。那这边我们看到这一课文哦 ，free from polluted air and city lights。这边的片语呢 ，free from 意思就是不受什么的影响，所以这边指的意思就是火山啊，它就没有被污染的空气给污染了，然后呢，也没有给城市的光害影响。
So, it's already home to 13 large scientific telescopes. Building these telescopes is not a new thing, but that's because the mountain is already home to them, right?
好，我们看到这个很好理解嘛 ，be home to 就是什么东西的所在地啊，所以就可以说 the island is home to many species of birds。这个岛是很多个不同种类的鸟类的家园哦。
Right, and it's very important for scientific research. Now, scientific, that's an adjective, and when we describe something as scientific, we mean it has something to do with science. That could be relating to the planets and outer space, it could be relating to chemistry, that's 化学, or animals and plants. Often scientists, that's people who work in science or do scientific experiments when they want to test out an idea. We could also call these ideas scientific theories. That's 理论, right? So scientific, similar adjectives to scientific include artistic. Now, when I say similar, I mean we can take the noun and we can, of a subject like art, languages, or geography, and we can turn them into an adjective about those things.
Right.
So someone who does art does artistic things. Someone who works with languages might write linguistic studies. Or someone who works in geography might work in like a geographic office, for example.
So like 艺术、语言学、地理。
Exactly. So our example sentence for scientific is, before releasing the new perfume to the public, the company did some scientific experiments to make sure it was safe.
好，所以这个火山的山顶呢，已经是13个科学望远镜的所在地了，所以非常的多了，已经有13个。And we have this word here, scientific， 它就是科学的。对大家来说应该也很不陌生，因为讲的就像 science 自然科学 or scientist 科学家。And we often say sci-fi, which is short for science fiction. So when we're talking about science fiction, we're talking about books or films, cartoons about an imagined future.Especially about space travel or other planets， 像是小说科幻小说啊，电影我们都可以说 a sci-fi novel or a sci-fi story or a sci-fi movie. And so scientific 我们可以造一个句子 Scientific knowledge has greatly advanced since the 16th century.
It has. So they're trying to advance scientific research, scientific knowledge a little bit more.Yet the Mauna Kea observatories are planning to add one more. That's the next line in the article. So they've got 13. They want to build a 14th. So why is this telescope special, Chickalin?
Because this giant telescope, if completed, will look farther into space and produce the sharpest ever pictures of planets and stars.That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so it could do a lot for us. You know, we can only see so far into space. There's so much of space we don't know anything about.
所以你知道这个Mauna Kea 天文园区哦，正计划要再增加一个天文望远镜，但是这个望远镜这个计划如果成功了 ，if completed 就是如果成功的这个望远镜，我们可以看到太空更远的地方哦，然后可以拍下很清晰的照片。So it's a really important thing to do.
Really, really important for scientific progress. However, there is another side to this. This is how we're relating it to what we were talking about with the buildings earlier. However, native Hawaiians say that Mauna Kea should be protected. So native, that's an adjective, and the word native describes the people who lived in a part of the world first. So Native Americans, for example, arrived in North and South America as early as 25,000 years ago. Most Europeans, however, didn't arrive in the Americas until after the 15th century, so we don't use the word native to describe European Americans. Now, in different parts of the world, different words are used to describe native peoples. You might also hear the word indigenous, which is spelled I-N-D-I-G-E-N-O-U-S, that's a long word, indigenous, or aboriginal, A-B-O-R-I-G-I-N-A-L, which both have the same meaning as native, and we often use the word aboriginal to talk about the native people in Taiwan. Now, our example sentence for native is, New Zealand's native people, the Maori, have lived on the islands for over 600 years.
所以这边出现一个蛮严重的问题哦，就是当地的夏威夷人觉得这个 Mauna Kea 火山呢，应该是要被保护，不应该受伤害。那我们这边看到一个很重要的单词 native， 这边是当形容词，是本地人的意思。所以像老师刚刚有提到 Native Americans 就是美洲原住民的意思。那我们如果说到母语人士，我们就可以说 native speakers，or 像是母语，你的母语就可以说native language，or your native tongue。So that means the first language you learn. And native is used as an adjective in the article here. 我们刚刚有讲到，但我们也可以当名词哦。So a native is a person born in a particular place. 所以你就可以说 he is a native of France.
Right, and that's one of the complicated things about native. Is it actually has two slightly different meanings. So native can mean that you were born and raised in a place. So I could say I'm a native of the UK. Chicklin is a native of Taiwan. But for example, if I was living in the US, I could call myself a native of the US, but I couldn't call myself a Native American. Because one of the meanings is like Yuanjumin, and one of them is like Bandiran. So it's like there's two different ones. So you have to be careful when you're reading it which one is being used. So our next line in the article is, it's home to their gods, and it's where they say the first Hawaiians were born. Okay, so it must be very important for them in their legends and their mythology, I see.
And it's also where many of their ancestors are buried.
Oh, okay, so it's very special for two reasons. And one of them is because its ancestors are buried there. Now, ancestors are the members of of your family that lived a long, long time ago. So we're not talking about your grandparents here. We're talking about people you never met, but who you are related to.
所以我们知道，这个 Mauna Kea 火山呢，是当地人信奉神明所在的地方，所以很重要对他们来说。那是当地人认为第一个夏威夷人出生的地方，所以这个字 ancestor 就是祖先的意思。
Very important.
And next, the article says native Hawaiians tolerated the others' telescopes when they were built. So we have this word here. To tolerate something means to bear something that is unpleasant or annoying. 那中文就是容忍的意思。譬如说，I won't tolerate lying, and that means if somebody lied to you, you would not accept it.
No. So it wasn't until this huge project that they said enough is enough. Okay, enough is our pocket phrase go, so let's see what the video to learn some more.
Pocket phrase go!
哎呀，在船上物资缺乏的时候，真是特别辛苦呢。最近啊，我的船员们都在抱怨，哎呀，好想吃拔辣哦，好想洗个热水澡哦，好想家哦，我想我阿嬷了。哼，你们这些脆弱的小伙伴 ，Enough is enough， 我们还没抓到彼得潘呢，给我继续忍耐。Enough 就是足够的，所以呢 ，Enough is enough 就表示够了，给我停下来，你们该停止啦，别再抱怨了，赶快呢跟我副船长一起上工啦。
好，所以我们在刚刚那句课文看到 ，It wasn't until this huge project that they said enough is enough。这边我们看到一个文法哦 ，it is 或者是 it was not until blah 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 that 怎么样怎么样。我们可以用这个句型来加强句中的时间副词，意思是直到什么时候才怎么样。好，那我们看一下例句。It wasn't until this year that Elliot saw the first Star Wars movie. 好，那这句话我们可以改写成什么呢？ Elliot didn't see the first Star Wars movie until this year. 代表呢 Elliot 到今年才看的Star Wars 的电影哦，所以我们还可以呢把 not until 往前提哦，放在句首变成一个倒装句，通常会使用在比较正式的场合哦。譬如说下面这个例句 ，It wasn't until 2 weeks after the earthquake that the government finally started sending aid to the victims. 那我们说呢，把 not until 移到句首嘛，我们可以改写成 Not until 2 weeks after the earthquake.Did the government finally start sending aid to the victims?
So back to the article, and over 1,000 Hawaiian protesters now sit on the mountain daily to stop workers and equipment from entering. Okay, so these protests are getting bigger. Now, daily is an adverb, and when we say that something happens daily, we mean that it happens every day. So in the article, the protesters are sitting on the mountain every day to stop workers from building the telescope. So that's why the protests are getting so big. Now, daily is just one example of how we can turn certain nouns into adverbs of frequency. Those are adverbs that tell us how often something happens. So for example, month we can turn into the word monthly, something that happens every month. So this magazine is published monthly. That's true about your English For You magazines. They are published every month. They are published monthly. Or we could talk about something happening yearly, which means every year. So Christmas is celebrated yearly all over the world because there is only one day that is Christmas, December 25th. Now, our example sentence for daily is Wilson goes to the gym daily to stay healthy and gain muscle.
OK， 所以我们知道有超过1000位的夏威夷抗议者 daily 这边这个字哦，我们的单字就是每天的，每天干嘛呢？每天坐在山上抗议哦。那么 daily 我们当形容词也是蛮常见的，可以说 daily routine or daily meeting， 就是每天的会议，每天的行程事务。And we can also use it in the phrase on a daily basis. That means every day. So you can say the workers are paid on a daily basis. 代表他们领日薪。
Or we can also talk about hourly as well. So I'm paid hourly. So I'm paid based on how many hours I've worked in the day.
所以像这边呢，这些抗议的人坐在山上干嘛呢？OK， 他们坐在山上，他们阻止 they're trying to stop the workers and any equipment， 他们要阻止这些工人啊仪器进入。那我们也看到 equipment 这个字是设备器材的意思。
So the article says the protest has been peaceful so far and the government isn't attempting to remove the protesters. Protest, right, so we've used this word a few times now. Let's tell you a little bit more about it. A protest is an organized gathering where people say they are not happy about something. So normally protesters, the people who protest, will walk through the streets holding signs and shouting out the reasons why they are angry. If you have seen the news recently, you'll know that there have been a lot of protests in Hong Kong. And these ones have been that's been less peaceful, hasn't it?
Yeah. OK, 我们看一下 protest 这一个字，在这边是当名词哦。那大家记得，因为当名词我们会说 protest， 当动词是 protest。好，那抗议者是 protesters， 我们刚刚老师有讲到嘛。好，那当动词的时候，我们造一个句子吧。They protested against the reduction in wages， 所以他们抗议工资的减少。那句子里面我们有看到片语 so far， 意思就是到目前为止，所以我们常说 so far so good，那就是到目前为止一切都很顺利。那么回到课文就是说抗议嘛，到目前为止都非常的 peaceful。So what does peaceful stand for?
Well, when we describe something as peaceful, that's an adjective by the way, we describe something that is safe and not violent. So peaceful comes from the word peace or ping an. Which is the opposite of war and fighting. So if there's no war and no fighting, then things must be pretty safe.
Right.
That's why we call those things peaceful. So we can also use peaceful in another way too. We can use peaceful to describe a situation where things are very quiet and very relaxing. So Mary spent a peaceful afternoon walking in the woods, for example. It could also mean there that the woods weren't violent, but we're getting the idea that Mary is having a nice walk and, you know, there's no noise, there's no cars, there's no people, it's very peaceful. Now, our example sentence for peaceful, meaning not violent, is the protests in this city started out as peaceful, but they soon turned violent.
Alright， 这个字好好记哦，It's so easy to remember, right？ 我们看一下 peace 这一个字，它就是和平加上 ful 就会变成形容词嘛。那我们片语就可以说 in peace, and that means peacefully。所以你可以说 They have lived in peace for a long time, and that means they have lived a peaceful life for a long time。或者呢 They have lived peacefully for a long time。
So our next line in the article is, however, the end to this situation is something not even the world's best telescope can see. All right, we have a very clever way with words there, don't we? So we're saying that this situation is going to go on for a very long time. It's very complicated and there's good arguments for both sides, you know, scientific research, but we also need to respect people's cultures. So how this is going to be resolved, what solution is going to come out of it, is something which we can't tell, even if we had a magic telescope that could look into the future.
Right. 所以这边他用一个非常好的写法，他说最终的结果怎么样呢？我们不知道。那作者用了即便是世界上最好的望远镜也看不清楚来做结论。It was a really good way to end it.
It was
a
really good way to end it. But hopefully they will reach some kind of resolution. You can actually probably go online and you might be able to see if anything new has happened with this story since we recorded it. But yes, we hope that the protests continue to be very peaceful. Anyway, we still have time for a For You chat question, so let's check that out now.
For You chat.
Okay, so good For You chat question for us today. What natural places in Taiwan are special to people? Are their futures in danger?
I wonder if you've heard of Kenton National Park.
I have.
Have
I've
you been
there?
there?
Yes,
oh,
I've been
okay.
to
Did you like it?
I did. I really liked swimming there, actually.
Oh, right. Okay. So actually, I heard that the coral reefs in Kenton National Parks are disappearing because of too many tourists.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm feeling kind of sad. So I think what should be done is that the government should designate the park a conservation area where picking up or collecting coral reefs is prohibited, so that the coral reefs can recover and they can provide a healthy environment for marine life. That's what I think it should be done. I think it's kind of serious.
If you ever go scuba diving or you ever go snorkeling and you go to a place with lots of coral, do not take any of the coral. It might look like rocks, but it is not.
No.
And if you take it, it will die, and coral grows very, very slowly as well. So if you take it, it's not just going to grow back. It takes 50, 60 years for it to reappear. So don't take any coral. All right, well, that's all the time we've got today, but you guys can talk a little bit more about maybe some cultural places, maybe some religious places, maybe some Aboriginal sites in Taiwan which might be in danger or might be changing because of, the way the world is now. So you guys can discuss that for your chat question, but for English for You, I'm Seb.
I'm Chickling.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Huge Hawaii Space Telescope Project reveals troubles on Earth. The top of Hawaii's Mauna Kea is the best place in the world to see into space. The peak is 4 kilometers up a mountain and free from polluted air and city lights. It's already home to 13 large scientific telescopes. Yet, the Mauna Kea observatories are planning to add one more. This giant telescope, if completed, will look farther into space and produce the sharpest ever pictures of planets and stars. However, native Hawaiians say that Mauna Kea should be protected. It's home to their gods, and it's where they say the first Hawaiians were born. It's also where many of their ancestors are buried. Native Hawaiians tolerated the other telescopes when they were built. It wasn't until this huge project that they said enough is enough. Over 1,000 Hawaiian protesters now sit on the mountain daily to stop workers and equipment from entering. The protest has been peaceful so far, and the government isn't attempting to remove the protesters. However, the end to this situation is something not even the world's best telescope can see.
Vocabulary Review.
Peak. Nina climbed to the mountain's peak, where she had an excellent view of the town below. Kilometer. Ivan was tired after he ran 20 kilometers around the city. Scientific. People say the factories are killing this lake's fish. Let's do a scientific study to find out if that's true. Native. Native Americans lost a lot of their culture after Europeans arrived in North America. Daily. Wilson goes running daily to prepare for the big race next month. Peaceful. World leaders hope that the two countries will find a peaceful solution to their disagreement.
智慧小补帖
Ancestor. Tolerate. Equipment. Protest.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net。 www.english4u.net。